when the mind won't let go. Rumination after abuse is not failure to heal. By Peak Afflatus, many people who leave abusive relationships find themselves trapped in spiraling, repetitive thought loops. Those who are able to share their experience with friends are often met with clear, rational insight. The problem is that insight doesn't stop the loop. The mind won't let go because it isn't insight it needs. It's closure. The patterns are consistent. The replaying, the confusion, the shame, the endless what-ifs, the sense of knowing exactly what is happening, yet being unable to stop it. People recognize the pattern clearly, but recognition alone changes nothing. This isn't emotional indulgence, it's the opposite. The mind is actively trying to solve a problem. The issue is that it has no clear condition for exit. The problem remains open because there is no usable rule to close it. The problem is not that the lesson is hard to learn, but that no lesson was available. Healthy conflict teaches us how loops end. Cause is legible. Responsibility is localizable. Boundaries produce change. Abusive dynamics break all three. There is harm without reason, reflected back as crazy. Denial without repair, they won't accept or apologize. Boundaries without consequence, they get away with murder. And maybe this time it will be different. Reconciliation without safety, you agree to disagree, never knowing when the next rupture will arrive. The system never produces a lesson the mind can rely on, so it keeps running the same unanswerable questions again and again. One way to recognize this loop is to notice what never changes. If each replay ends with the same unanswered question, the same uncertainty, or the same hypothetical outcome, the mind is not failing to understand. It is signaling that no reliable rule was ever learned. You can know it wasn't your fault. You can clearly see that it was abusive. You can analyze it relentlessly. But comprehension isn't the problem. The past is relatively easy to make sense of. What's missing is confidence in the future. That's what completes the thought. The mind is trying to answer very specific questions. What boundary would have stopped this? What signal predicts danger? What action guarantees exit? How does this end next time? But abuse is a non-learnable system. You cannot map behavior to outcome when responses are erratic. Pattern recognition cannot produce safety in a system that refuses consistency. There was no winning move to discover. While still in the relationship, you adapt. You suppress. You live in hope. These strategies keep the loop partially contained. After leaving, rumination often intensifies. The danger becomes abstract rather than immediate. Bandwidth returns. The mind finally has space to run the problem in full, and it does so relentlessly. This is why people often feel worse after escape, not better. Reassurance doesn't help. Forgiveness doesn't help. Self-blame doesn't help. More insight doesn't help. Even the language of healing often misses the point. What the mind needs is not resolution, but termination. Termination is not a feeling of certainty or peace. It is the presence of a rule the mind trusts more than hope. Like any system trapped without an exit clause, it requires a non-negotiable rule, a boundary that does not rely on persuasion, understanding, or hope, a condition that ends the process cleanly. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be as simple as, if X happens, I leave. Without that, the mind remains in protection mode without proof that protection is no longer required. Continuing to think about it is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It is evidence that the system never received a credible exit signal, and it will not stand down on faith alone. You have been listening to Peak Afflatus.